How amazing would it be if you could read sheet music like a book? That you could just read the music and see how the story unfolds before your eyes. And you've no idea yet in the beginning where it will end. I think that is one of the most amazing things about sight reading, is that sometimes you play a song and then you get surprised yourself how beautiful it sounds while you're playing it yourself. It feels a little bit like reading a book. It is exciting, you don't know what is coming next. And next to that, it is also extremely useful, especially when practicing new pieces. You will learn new pieces a lot faster if you learn how to read sheet music. So without further ado, in this video I will give my top tips for how to learn sheet music, and I will give you the exact steps, the 5 steps to take to learn sheet music. The first step to take is to find the right sheet music to practice with. Normally, if we practice sheet music, we want to go back to a basic level of violin playing. So don't take very difficult sonatas and concertos. Just take very easy, simple tunes like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to start with. On the moment that you got your sheet music in front of you, there are a few things to look for. First of all, what is the key signature? Are there sharps or are there flats? And what is the time signature? Have you played in this time signature before? Are there any tempo markings? And how fast or slow would the music be played in a performance? Who wrote the piece of music? This can also give you an idea of the style of the music. And do you see any accidentals in the music itself? Analyzing the sheet music is really already a big part of the work, because a lot of it can be read just by looking at the sheet music before, knowing in which key signature you are going to play and with which time signature. And I will get into that later in a moment, what that means. So after you've done that second step of observing the sheet music that you're going to play, the next step is to learn the rhythm of the sheet music. So don't learn the notes yet, but just the rhythm. I would suggest that you look at the notes and you can either clap the rhythm for yourself or tick it with a pencil, or even better, you could also use the Kodali rhythms as I teach them in Julia's Violin Academy. So you look at the piece, let's say that you're looking at Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and you would tap on your desk or in your hands or while saying the Kodali rhythms. What could help is to put on a metronome before you start tapping the rhythm, so you know exactly what the value of 1/4 note is. And then you just da 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 da. But you don't know anything about the song yet, so you won't know that it will sound like that. On that moment you are just tapping the rhythm. After you can tap the rhythm of a new piece that you would like to sight read, the next step is to practice the scale. And you can see which scale to practice in the key signature. If you don't see any sharps or flats before the piece, so you see no key signature, the piece is played in C major or in A minor. And if you see 3 sharps, it is most likely a piece in A major. So have a look at the piece, look at in which key signature it is played, and then look in my key signature guides that I also uploaded on my website. You can check it out in the description, in which key you have to practice your scales. So just imagine that the key signature would be in G major, you would practice the G major scale. You do it very slowly, and while you're practicing the scale, you have a look at the fingerings that you're using. These are the correct fingerings of the piece. So if the piece is written in G major, you know that you would always have to play a high second finger on the G string. And on the A string, the scale has a low second finger. So you know that on the A string you have to play a low second finger. The last step of this process is the most exciting step. Here's when you put both of the elements together. So you now know the rhythm, you know the key signature, so you know exactly where to place your fingers. And now you place your fingers on the string while you're playing the piece. What can help, of course, if you find it still very hard to read all the fingers, you can of course first take a little bit of time and put the fingers above the note. So for instance, if you would see a D on an A string, you put the 3rd finger above that note, so you know that you would have to play a 3rd finger. And if you repeat this process many times of putting the fingerings above the notes, you will notice that at some point you don't have to put them above anymore because you directly recognize them. If you don't recognize the notes yet and which fingerings to use, also have a look at my guide Violin Notes for Beginners, because in this guide I put all the notes of the violin on a piece of sheet music, and there you can see exactly which finger belongs to which note. So you can analyze it that way, and at some point you can do it by yourself. So there you have it. Here you are sight reading a piece. And of course, this process can take a lot of time. It's not that you sight read a piece immediately the first time you try it. Also, another thing I can really recommend next to taking those 5 steps. These are the 5 steps to take if you can already sight read. But if you are in the very beginning and you have no idea yet about the notes, I recommend to take it step by step. So first, for instance, only learn where the open strings are on the violin. Where can you find them? G, A, D, E. Find all the open strings, then learn to sight read the open strings. Then learn to sight read the open strings and the first finger. And also the rhythms, you have to practice all the rhythms separately. So start with easy rhythms like quarter notes and half notes, and then you make it more and more difficult by adding 16th notes and 8th notes. If you would like to learn sight reading step by step, I highly recommend to become a member of Julia's Violin Academy. Here I have a step-by-step sight reading course that will take you through the whole process, through all the rhythms and all the notes. And this is a program that will take quite a while. I think you would need at least 17 hours to watch all the lessons, and then you also have to do the exercises. But by the end of it, you can truly sight read well. So I think it is totally worth your time because you will save so much time in the long run. So remember, if you want to sight read a piece, for instance, at an exam, or if you have to sight read something very quickly, make sure to first choose a piece that is easy if you have the chance to. The second thing, first look at the piece and observe what are all the characteristics of the piece. In that, especially the time signature and the key signature are vital and really, really important. Also the tempo, you can get an idea how fast you would have to play the piece. The third step is to tap the rhythm of the notes, so to make sure that you can play all the rhythms. And then you have the fourth step where you're playing the scale, and if you would have to play right away in sight reading, think of the scale in your head. Just imagine what it goes like. And if you've practiced your scales a lot, you will know exactly where you have to play low second fingers and high second fingers and so forth. And in the fifth step, you put it all together. And if you can do all of these steps really, really well, then you can sight read a piece. I hope this video gave a little bit of insight how to sight read pieces and which steps to take in order to sight read a piece very, very quickly as a violin player. And if you would like to see more videos, definitely subscribe to this channel. I upload weekly violin lessons, so I hope to see you around for my lesson of next week. Goodbye and good luck sight reading!